Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel for the final budget video of the year. We finally got our second paycheck in the last month, and so we are going to go over those numbers and wrap this year up in a nice little bow, see how I did in terms of total net income, savings, spending, all of that good stuff, and also go through what goals I completed versus didn't, and if I would do anything differently. So if you guys are into that, we will get straight into the video after I introduce myself. For those of you who are new, my name is Bo, I'm 31, I live in Seattle, Washington, and I'm on my way to $1 million net worth before retirement age. So if you're into that, please stay tuned and we will get right into the video. Starting with my finance goals. So if you guys don't remember from the beginning of the year, I set 4 goals and then I cut them up between quarters. And if you've noticed in the past few months, I haven't been revisiting this because I pretty much met all of them. I was able to save 10 grand, pay off my student loans, and also pay towards my husband's student loan. We actually finished that this year as well. The only thing I wasn't able to do, as you guys know, is invest in that Roth IRA because we are now kind of in a weird area with that in terms of income. People were asking if I wanted to do backdoor. The answer was no. I will look more into that next year, but that is where we are with our goals. All of them were met outside of the Roth IRA. So now we can move on to our bills. So our bills, they were all pretty much the same. We paid our Netflix, which was $25.91. And then we got rid of the gym membership. So that's another new development. I quit the gym. I quit the boxing gym because I'm just a little burnt out. I'm needing to kind of reset my nervous system, my life with job, and sleeping and all that. I have access to a free gym in my building, so I am just kind of cutting my losses there. And I ended up not paying for December because I was like, I'm not gonna come back in January when, everyone's being, motivated with the New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. I'm just not feeling that. So I quit that, which means I didn't have to pay $220 this month. I paid $125 just yesterday towards groceries. And then I paid $3.88 towards my blog. So that is where we are with our bills. We've completely filled out this whole tracker, and it's very satisfying actually to see. So that is fantastic. So if we're gonna move on now, I didn't invest anything else in December. So I was able to invest $2,000, which is great, but I wasn't able to invest or save anything else when it comes to that. So that's where we are right now. And that did go towards my investing, so I'm not gonna add it to my emergency fund. And no beans because we did not add to our general savings. So with that being said, we can go straight into the budget for the month of December. And we were pretty standard with our goals for December. Invest $2,000, enjoy the holiday season, and save $500. I did not save $500 because my husband lost his wedding ring, and so I'm using that $500 that I could save towards getting a new one. And so we did not save $500 this month, but we did invest $2,000, so a win. It's still a win to me. Our monthly budget, I'm just gonna go through it pretty quickly because I don't want to keep you guys too long because we do need to go over the general year wrap up, and so that's why I'm kind of going a little fast here. So as you guys can see, my income total was $4,960.67 because of that bank interest adding a little bit extra in there. And of that, I invested $2,000. And then when you look at my overall expenses, I was under in pretty much all of these except for miscellaneous. And because I was under in everything else, it kind of made up for the miscellaneous being $527 as opposed to $300. So as you can see, my total actual expenses was $2,164.61, which gives me a difference of $185.46. So I was almost $200 under budget despite being 500 and some change over my discretionary. And I'm actually just now realizing that that's not true because I did spend $38 buying a new budget book. So that was actually 12, I believe 20 or so. And I did buy this budget book again. And yeah, so I spent $38 on that. So it's not actually 527, it's 527 plus 38. So that's 565, right? So then you can minus 38.46 minus 38. So this is actually 147.46. Still under budget by $150. But yeah, I had to buy that budget book. I did it just in time because Amazon, as you guys know, is going on strike. So the timing was great. I've been getting some good feedback from everybody. Some people saying that they got the book and, wanting to follow along. So I am gonna use this book for next year as well. And then we'll see at the end of next year if we want to go towards a new book or continue with this one. But it's been very fun, using this book and all of the visuals, the coloring and stuff like that. So I look forward to doing that in 2025. Moving on. So I did all the math already. And as you guys can see for my, reflections for the month, I did put C back because it was similar questions. They were asking me similar things in the back, and I figured we could just wrap up the year as opposed to talking about the month and then the year. So that's where I am with that. As you guys can see in my pie chart here, my biggest category was left over. So a lot of the money is just sitting, waiting to be allocated next month. Rent, as well as the extra that is in my checkings account for the buffer, is still in there. A total of $2,417.13. I saved $2,000, so savings is the second biggest expense, and then living was 24.4% for me. And then as you guys can see, also discretionary / miscellaneous, that was about 8%. So it looks huge on here, but it's really small, I guess, compared to the big three that you see on there. So that's pretty much where I am. I really didn't spend much at all out of my budget. And yeah, that $500 was actually a loan to someone who needed it. So that is why it's kind of an unexpected expense. So I put it in miscellaneous, and that's just what happens sometimes. And so now we can move to the back of this book for the good stuff. And yes, I did not budget anything for holiday because I'm not buying anybody gifts except for my husband, his wedding ring. Other than that, nobody's getting a gift. And yeah, no gifts. So not even myself. So there's that. We're gonna go out to eat and that's it. So my summary for the year, I did the math because I didn't want to subject you guys to me struggling with the calculator. So my total net income for the year was $78,653.99. Now, as you guys know, my gross is $92,000. So, do with that what you will. 78 net, that's what I took home. My total bill expenses was $40,591.19. And other expenses, so this is basically like when I went over budget, stuff like that, how much that was. And this is actually the number that I want to get down. So total other expenses ended up being $10,874.44. And that is because, you guys, in the beginning of the year, I was really overspending. So as you can see, like some of these were $1,600, other expenses, $2,700, $5,000. Like it's just, I think that was because of debt payoff, but still, like, it's just looking a little crazy. So I think if I can bring these down, it'll look completely different next year, because as you can see, in the last few months, it was nothing extra, no debt, no extra spending. So if I can bring this down, this extra $10,000 can be invested, and that would be fantastic. I think a good number for other expenses is probably somewhere around maybe 2,000, like for the year, like 200 extra every once in a while, 100 extra every once in a while. Like I'm definitely looking forward to not having $2,000 over my budget. It's just insane to me. And so I look forward to seeing that go down. Total debt payoff, $15,356. So that's for my debt. And then for my husband, who knows how much he paid off? I don't know. I think it was like around 30 something thousand. And then for total savings, we have $15,530, which is great. And I ended up adding that. So when I took 78 plus thousand minus bills, minus expenses, minus debt, that ended up being $11,832.36, right? So that was the difference with all of the depletions. And so then I added my savings, the 15,530, and that came out to $27,362.36, which makes sense because I saved 20,000. I invested around 4,000, and then I have 4,000 like sitting in my bank account. So that pretty much adds up, which is great. And yeah, I mean, the numbers aren't the most ideal in my opinion. They're not, but this is what we have. So what I want to know in the comments is how you guys did for the year. I want to know your audit. Like, do you think you could improve on some of your spending, on your debt payoff, on your saving? That's what I want to talk about in the comments. So just let me know where you guys are at, what you think of mine, what you think would be a good, I guess, way to fix this in the next year. That is what I want to talk about below. If we're rating the year out of 10 stars, I would give it, I would say a 7. I would give it a 7 because, you know, it started out rocky. There was a lot of obstacles in the way in the beginning, especially with, you know, loans and all of that. So I would say it was a 7. Not too bad. Can be better, but that's a good overall assessment of the year. Did I achieve this year's goals? I did. As you guys know, all of my goals were financial. It was to pay off loans. That was the theme of this year, was to pay off debt. And we are completely debt free. So yes, that was a success. What did I do well? I would say saving and staying on track with paying off debt is what I did well. I reached both the savings goal as well as the paying off debt goal. I didn't necessarily reach an investment goal. I didn't really set one outside of the Roth IRA. So I don't really see that as a loss, but I would say those are the things that I did well. What stressed me out the most this year, and what can I do to prevent it from happening again? I would say this year, I mean, my spending was pretty bad in the beginning and towards the middle. And so I think, what can I do to prevent it from happening again? I think I've caught on to how not to spend so much. I know we were eating out a lot, which in terms also has sort of a psychological effect on you when you eat certain foods. So I think, eating out less, continuing to do that will help in that aspect. I also think, lending out as much money as I didn't lend out that much. I lent out about $3,000-ish this year. And I was asked way more, and I started saying no. So I think, it didn't necessarily stress me out, but it does put a stressor when you have goals that you're trying to reach. You see your numbers and you're like, I didn't spend a single thing. I'm doing so good. And then, someone comes and asks for that exact difference. That can get frustrating. So that's another thing that I think next year I'm going to really start leaning towards the word no a little bit more. So the overall question now is how I can do better next year. Honestly, my other expenses, keeping it low. So not over $500 for like overspending. If we can keep it below $500, I think that would be great. Let's see, 500 times 12. And even that's 6,000. So keep it under 200. That's 2,400. That's a little bit better, right? I think we're gonna keep our overspending to 200 at the most and really just try our hardest not to go over that number. Also, I'm gonna invest more. We couldn't really invest that much this year. We saved, but once we do reach our savings goals, our total savings goals, all we're gonna be doing is investing. So that's gonna come with time naturally. Other than that, I'm just gonna stay steadfast, keep being consistent, use my budgeting book, and just stay on top of my numbers, keep auditing yourself. And I think that will bring us to a clean conclusion to 2025. So that is all that I have this year. That is the last budgeting video for the year, which means I want to hear from you guys. I want to know how you guys did this year, how you're feeling about it. I also want to know if you're going to be joining me next year in, doing this all over again. We're going to come to a new budget book with new eyes, fresh new start, and we're going to set some goals. I also would like to maybe have a live stream where we can set up our goals and our new budget books together. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, and I will look to set something up there too. And that's pretty much everything that I have for you. I hope you have a great holiday season. I hope you have a happy new year, and I will see you in the next video.